You are now tuned to BS3 Network. BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.
It's Queen 3 and King. It's Queen 3 and King. It's Queen 3 and King. Queen 3 and King, we the team, it's going down. We the talk of the town, it's going down. We royalty, wear our crowns, it's going down. Tune in now, it's going down. Queen 3 and King, we the team, it's going down. We the talk of the town, it's going down. We royalty, wear our crowns, it's going down. Tune in now, it's going down. It's Queen 3 and King on BS3 Network.
Welcome to. I'm glad the producer is right here. We simpatico. Keep that beat rolling. That's exactly what I was thinking. Let it rock some more. When you got the hardest intro in the podcast game, gonna let it keep rolling. Not just BS3
All right
Network.
now.
You heard what I said. Welcome to another episode of Queen 3 and King. Today's episode is Black Marriage, Black Divorce. We were supposed to have our special guest, Gary, the Freelosopher Freeman, which you all are very familiar with. He's dropped knowledge bombs every time he comes, and he's funny, especially when he done had it up to here. He get real funny.
Not up to here.
So Black Marriage, Black Divorce, we'll break this down, answer a couple of questions about it. We'll get your input on it. And whatnot. We'll give a few statistics about why this even came up, and we will chop it up in only the way we can. If you're on Facebook watching us, please give Facebook permission or StreamYard permission to post your name or publish your name. There should be a link in the comment section, so please do that. And because we want to give you proper credit for your input. But first, let's go ahead and do the introductions for the ladies that we have here, the queens that we do have here. We start first in Forney, Texas. A young lady who is wearing some locks that they called, I was only half listening, I'll admit, but I think they said they was whole locks or something like that. I'll let her tell you about that when I tell you what it is. Again, she's out of Tulsa. She's out of East Garland. She wasn't a member of the East Side Posse, but she lived right down the street from her. She's the educator queen. She goes by Meba. She goes by TT and some other stuff that you probably have never heard before. Talk to the people, queen.
I'm so mad at Alicia and Kia asking me what I was wearing, so you can get on here and do that, Bella.
Yeah, well, okay, so that I get it right. I admit I don't always get it right. So did I get it
It
wrong?
ain't called whole lot.
Yes.
What are they?
Boho.
I was really close.
No, you just took the whole part.
Yeah.
You knew what you was doing.
You ain't never half listened.
So you got some boho locks out. So who the fuck is Bo?
Bye.
Just go.
Hey y'all. Bye.
All right, and next we have the baby queen, also known as Mama Lee, formerly known as Blake's mama. She is now firmly entrenched in the corner of the pacifier wielding Bronx, also known as 40 Red, who slammed the car door today. It wasn't no big car, it was a little car, but he slammed it. He done slammed them before. I guess he said it's all about slamming Cadillac doors and pimping those. I don't know.
My God.
Talk to the people, queen.
Hello, everyone.
All right, they said hi. You can't hear them. All right, let's acknowledge a couple of people in the chat room already who are speaking. So let's make sure we speak back. We have someone saying, "Hey, my beautiful family."
Hey.
Whoever you is, hi.
Hit the link.
Facebook user also said, "Hey, family." So hi to whoever you are.
Hey y'all.
And then Facebook user wants to know the same thing. I want to know who is Bo.
Y'all, my goal is to be wearing matching pajamas by Christmas, so we'll see.
Well, shit. Let's
All
see. What time
right.
is it today?
Y'all don't know what's going on in my life.
It is 7:05 p.m. September 19th to 12:25, 23. That's 3 months, 6 days, and 8 hours. Okay. All right. Well, best of luck to you.
Thank
Best of luck to you. I hope it works out. So again, okay, black marriage, black divorce. There are several predictors, right? We've all heard some statistics. That's
Take your
not easy to
time.
say when you done been drinking a little coconut flavored tequila this evening. But anyway, so okay, it's saying here
1800?
whoever left it, it's got to get drank because that's not
Oh,
typically what I set on my shelf. So I need to make some room because I got a
yeah.
brand new bottle of that what's that Hennessy, the one you can only buy on cruise ships and stuff. That one. You know what I'm talking about. Hennessy White, right? Ain't that what it is?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
All right. So we've all
Yeah.
heard the statistics. It's always been right at about 50% ending in divorce. Then you add in the other factors, whether it be ethnicity, whether it be financial considerations, socioeconomic considerations, and a couple other topics, which we'll get into as we go on, right? Occupation is one of them, believe it or not. In fact, I'll give you a little example about the occupation right now that you may find interesting. All of us have some sort of insurance background. Mika, you got a degree in insurance, right?
Yep.
Lily is in a management role in insurance. I served in a management role in insurance for shit since the early 90s. And I'm doing my continuing education right now, which I always wait to the last 30 days before they do to try to get 24 hours done in 30 days. So, but part of that is underwriting. And underwriting, you consider a lot of factors to determine what the rates are.
Mm-hmm.
Occupation is used by some carriers to determine what rates are going to be the highest and what rates
Even
are going to be the
marriage.
best rates. Yep. So, some of the occupations in insurance that get better rates is like doctors and executives and things of that nature because they're figuring since they have a higher level of education that they're going to be more conservative in terms of driving. Some of
Mm-hmm.
the occupations that have lower rate, excuse me, higher rates, and we'll bring on Gary Freeman here in just a minute when I get through this little spiel, and we'll introduce him. But the occupation that has some of the higher rates are some of those blue collar occupations like plumbers, and ditch diggers and feather pluckers.
Mm-mm.
That I'm just telling you, they do. And the reason why is because they said those occupations are more likely to stop and have a burra on the way home more so than some of your executive positions. Now, the executives, it's not that they don't drink after work. It's just that they go home and go to their bar and they pour them a three-finger lid. Okay, which Gary looked like he might got a three-finger lid in the back there. I can't tell if it's a bar back there or not. But anyway, so that's kind of what one of the things that we'll discuss. So again, ethnicity is one of the most notable predictors of divorce. For instance, why did I say black marriage, black divorce, right? For instance, Asian Americans have traditionally shown the lowest divorce rates of all other races. Currently, it's 12.4 divorces per 1,000 people. So keep that in. They're doing these statistics based on every 1,000 people, how many are getting divorced. So 12.4 out of 1,000. Okay.
Okay.
Hispanic origin Americans are the second largest group, largest group regarding the number of divorces. And an average of 18.5% in marriage delusions. Okay. Caucasians fall third with 15.1. So that Hispanic number is right at about 14 per 1,000. White Americans or Caucasians
Mm-mm.
fall third with 15.1 divorces for 1,000 people. Okay. And then finally, when you talk about African Americans, we divorce at the highest rate compared to any other race at 30.8 per
Damn.
1,000 people.
I'm sorry.
Okay. And I think that's the perfect time to bring Gary, the philosopher Freeman, in because that's how he made us laugh whenever we were. I forget what the topic was, but it tickled the shit out of Lily. Because
I tried to go back
it
and
was
find
one
it.
where we were. It was one where we were talking about relationships and in communication between partners. And he was like, sometimes he like, no, you go sit there and listen to this shit. Yeah, but he had been nice the whole show until then. Mr. Philosopher, what's up, my man? How you, sir?
I'm good. I'm sorry I'm late. I had to remind y'all that I was black though, and show up a few minutes late. I've been showing y'all the white side for too long. I've been on time for 3 or 4 episodes. So
I got you.
I just need you to bring the real in again.
Oh, you know he will. He ain't got no laugh. How life been treating you, my man?
Oh, it's good. It's good. I can't complain. I'm truly blessed.
Good. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with you. What are your initial thoughts on that? When I sent you the topic, and you saw the topic was black marriage, black divorce, what was your first thought?
Man, it's a tough one because there are so many different dynamics that we have to deal with as Black people. There's so many different stigmas that we tie to marriage. There's so many stigmas that we tie to divorce. There's a lot that we have to. There are a lot of cycles that we have to break, and there are a lot of ideas and concepts that we have to teach each other, and there are a lot of things that we got to break each other from. So this is a really interesting topic. I've been married for 15 years, and this is probably the one thing that I could almost consider myself an expert in, simply because of time. 10 years, anything you do for 10 years, they say you're an expert in it.
Yeah, the 10,000 hour rule, right?
Yeah, 10,000 hour rule, absolutely.
All right, yeah. See, and I'm telling you right now, if you see me reach for my pen, you finna have a good show. So, and when Gary talks, generally, he one of them kind of dudes that's gonna make me reach for my pen because he's gonna say something that I want to dig back into later because I think it's got a lot of meat on it. Now, why Mika got what you looking down at? Go ahead and share with the class, shit. Since you're an educator, share with the class what the hell you distracted from when me and Gary having this good ass conversation. You looking down with your whole locks on. I mean, go whole locks. I'm sorry. My bad. I apologize. I apologize profusely. I got it wrong. Whole lot.
Oh, these.
Okay. Tell us your initial thoughts when you saw that topic. I sent it to the Queen, 3, and King cast. We'll just say cast and staff, producers and queens, and I just sent across black marriage, black divorce. Did it hurt your feelings?
No, but I did think about in our community that they're saying that 50% of our marriages end in divorce. So that was one of the first things that did pop into my mind. And like you said, I wondered who is not divorcing and who is divorcing at the highest rate. And now that you say the Asian community, I believe it.
All right, Lily, initial thoughts, man. Black marriage, black divorce. You black marriage. What were your initial thoughts? Well, you got a black marriage, white marriage.
No. You ain't gonna do that.
Go
ahead. Initially, I actually just thought of my parents.
Right. Okay. Wow. Love it.
So I thought of them when I first saw it because I often think about that, and I could just kind of elaborate on that later. But that was my first thought when it was my parents.
Yeah. All right. Love it. No, Aunt Lita, your name is not showing up, man.
That's what I was trying to find.
That's why I'm trying to look. Sorry.
Yeah. It actually, Miss Producer, while we continue to talk, I think that link may be in the, yes, it is in the, in our banner. If you'll do me a favor, if you can, and try to copy and paste that into the Facebook deal. And then
why you trying to call me out? I'm trying to see why these names not showing up.
And let me see if I can also copy it and put it in the comments as well. So bear with us just a moment as we do a little on the air production. But
I think
again, we
it's
just want to
already
make
in
sure.
the chat, huh?
Yeah, but I'm not sure. I'm just going to put it there again so they can see StreamYard.com/Facebook is where you want to go. I want to dig into this, Miss Producer. I'm going to kind of go in and out in terms of I know you have some questions set for us, and if you have this particular questions, but I want to go here first. And it's because Gary kind of touched on it, and Lily kind of touched on it, and I think Mika may even kind of touched on it, and that is children of divorce. Are children of divorce more likely to experience divorce themselves? Because again, we all thought of our Gary may not have thought about his parents, but Lily, Mika, myself, we're children of divorce. I'm a children of divorce who experienced divorce. Okay, so that is a very good question. Are they more likely to experience divorce themselves? Lily, let's start with you on that particular question, and you can elaborate on the fact that you thought about your parents when that happened.
I think it may just be a 50-50 thing. I know for me myself, before I got married, I even feared getting married because I didn't want to end up going through a divorce. Because I had kids and I didn't want my kids to be impacted by it. But I think that was one of the things that me and Brandon talked a lot about before getting married is divorce isn't an option. We have to work at it every day. It's going to be work. It's not going to be easy. And we didn't want that to be the option because that kind of seems like in this microwave society that's the first thing that comes to mind when the sign of trouble run. And I don't want to show that to my kids. I don't want to set that example for my kids. So I think it depends just on how it impacted you.
Okay. Mika, are children of divorce more likely to experience divorce themselves?
I kind of go the different direction, meaning we work so hard not the different direction from Alicia, but like different direction from society. We work so hard not to be divorced.
When you say we, who is your we?
I mean, people who are getting married or wanting to get married or are married, you work so hard not to get divorced. I think you have more of a success rate from people who come from a divorced family. Only because, like I said, because we work so hard, we've been through it, we experienced it, and we don't want our children or anybody around us to go through that. Just my opinion.
Okay, that's fair. Freelosopher, are children of divorce more likely to experience divorce themselves?
I think it could go either way. And I'll tell you kind of, I wasn't necessarily a child of divorce, but, I was basically a single, I was raised in a single parent household. And so my mom really modeled what a really strong woman was. And so that's what attracted me. Those are the type of women that I were attracted to. And typically they don't necessarily, those particular type of women don't necessarily get divorced, I guess that's the way that I saw it. The flip side of that is you really will mimic what you see. So if you are if you grow up in a household that is a really destructive household, whether you see your parents arguing, fighting, fussing, whatnot, those kind of things carrying on a lot, then you tend to mimic that. And if you see someone walk away from marriages, 2, 3 marriages, then you will tend to mimic that as well. So I think that is just it, but it all depends on the individual and how they see it. What do they see? Do they see it like Mika said? Do they see it as I don't want to be this same type of failure, or do they see it as and so I'm going to be better? I'm going to choose a mate that I'm going to be more wise when I choose my mate, or is it going to be I saw my mom start over. I saw my dad start over. So as soon as it gets tough, then I kick this joker to the curb and I can get started again too. So it just depends on the person and the circumstances.
All right. Aunt you are good now. She goes, I thought once I gave StreamYard permission my permission, I was good, but you're good now. I don't know why,
I
once
think it
you're
resets.
so at some point, yeah.
Mhm.
That may be what it is. Because for us as hosts, we have to in order for this to even publish on Facebook, I have to renew my permission to Facebook frequently. So you
Mhm.
probably have to renew it from time to time. Ben, who's in the chat room, who says good evening, may be able to give us some more insight on that as well. And again, it is very important for us to get viewer feedback. So please, as we
Mhm.
ask these questions, give us your thoughts on them. Give us some
Yeah.
of your experiences. Some people may know exactly what they felt when they found out their parents were getting divorced.
Mhm.
For me, being around 8, I was in the 3rd grade. I remember some specific moments of that divorce and how it came about and some trauma associated with that. In fact, believe it or not, about 3 years or so ago, this was pre-COVID. When I say, okay, so here is the deal. I'm gonna try to protect some people here and then some information because I haven't asked for permission to put this
Yeah.
out, so I'm not going to. But I was giving a friend some advice that she had asked me about because she was going through a divorce. Her son happened to be the same age I was when my parents got divorced. In my giving her some advice and ministering to her, and that's what I'm gonna call it, about her kid, I had a breakthrough out of this world. All of a sudden, 7-year-old Ivan was in the truck figuring out he had some unresolved issues about what the hell that took place. And the
Mhm.
waterworks went left. And it was because at 7 years old, even though I was only 7 or 8 at the time, I still had some regret that I couldn't help my mama more at that time.
Mm.
Oh my goodness.
You understand what I'm
That's
saying? And that
heavy.
bothered the out of me. Okay.
That's heavy.
And I didn't know it because it was buried. Okay. But it came up because and the reason why it came up because I told her I was in the same position as your son is, and look at me. And when I said that, all of a sudden I was like, it's some stuff inside there that I still, and I got news for you. When I was 17, 16, 17, I went to my dad's house with bad intentions. I promise you I did. With bad intentions. But I had to pass an old church in Garland when I went by. And I guess there was still some God in there because he told me, son, don't do. But I'm telling you, I had some bad intentions on my mind that day. Ask me why I came up at 17-year-old randomly, 10
Mhm.
years later. I have no idea.
Because you were a man at that time in your
Right.
mind.
And and somewhere in the recesses of my mind, I said, I can go get this nigga now.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Okay. But anyway, I said all that to say we're talking about children of divorce more likely to experience divorce themselves. It could be a factor also is how did that divorce go? Was it
Mhm.
unpleasant? Did you have to see after that your mama struggled? And so that may influence whether you want to get divorced or not. Did you see them flourish afterwards? And that may influence. Did you see that? Oh, that wasn't so bad. Did that take away the embarrassment factor of it? I've talked to some people who are children of parents who've been married for 40 years, who stayed in relationships 2 and 3 and 4 years longer, abusive relationships 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years longer than
Yeah.
they should have
Mhm.
Yeah.
because they were too embarrassed to get out of a situation that they really needed to get out of.
Yeah.
Right? So again, what happens with our parents, I'm sure definitely affects us when we are married. And I'll give some statistics to that. If just one person in a marriage is the child of a parent divorce situation, that couple is 69% more likely to get a divorce.
Jeez.
And
Wow.
I don't have the statistics that say how many of them actually do versus how many that don't, right?
Yeah.
But they're 69% more likely than a couple who are together who both of their parents are still married, right?
Wow.
Now let's add this hot sauce on this catfish. If both their parents, sets of parents were divorced, they are 189% more likely to get a divorce themselves.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Isn't that staggering? That is almost 3 times as likely to get a divorce if only just one of you have it. Because, like,
Well,
like Gary said, we mimic what we see. Go ahead, Gary.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's just what I alluded to earlier. We mimic what we see, and again, sometimes it's a good thing because you are able to recognize, okay, this isn't what I want, and I feel like I can do better by myself or with somebody else. So you can put it down and move on rather quickly. And sometimes it's just, I'm not going to put in the work and the time and the effort to get through this tough time to make it with this person that I said that I would. It just all depends on who the individual is.
All right, Lily or Mika, y'all got anything to add before I add another little aspect to this thing?
No, I want the next aspect to happen.
Okay. What if, how does this, and give just some general thoughts on this, and anybody can talk first on it. What if you're children of, similar to what Gary Freeman was, but their parents, or you live together for a period of time. They were never technically married, but they didn't live together their entire childhood, if that makes any sense, right? You know, my mom and daddy was together, never married till I was 5.
Yeah.
Then my daddy left, or whatever the case may be. Does that change this at all, or are we looking at very similar situations in terms from a kid's perspective? They never were married. They never, had that ceremony. They never, but, in that kid's perspective, did it still function the same way?
I would think it would, because as a kid, do you know, like, if your parents are living together or if they are married, does that make a difference to you?
Great point. Well, you probably don't even know, right?
And that's what I was going to add.
There's a lot of situations as a kid, you wasn't born when your mom and dad got married anyway, right? Yeah. Most of the time, right?
Because I don't know if I've ever told y'all this, but Peyton, when we got married, Peyton was like, I thought y'all were already married.
Wow. Okay.
Because she didn't even put it together. Like,
right.
She was always saw us
house.
If you live together, kids like, okay, y'all are married. And I think that's going to have the same effect on the child because they see you together. They see this household that's being together. They see us as a family, and now our family is broken. Whether there's a piece of paper in the picture or not. Yeah.
Okay. Gary, you got something to add on that?
Yeah, well, it all depends on what that relationship is like, and if it's, because kids see things as subtle as mom and daddy ain't got the same last name. They may not see that till the 6th grade.
Right.
But when they see mom and dad ain't got the same last name, but I got my daddy's last name, well, I got my granddaddy's last name. Well, you know how black folks do it.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah.
So I got my granddaddy's last name. And, so why is this? And so but everybody at school, they mom and daddy, I seen their report cards, they all got the same name. So I'm a little bit different. You know what I mean? We see those little subtle things, and it can even make a difference in how a kid sees himself and that self-esteem that's associated with being part of a traditional family. It really does. It probably matters more than we could probably put a metric to.
I've even seen in divorces where the mom decides to keep the last name to kind of help the kid through the transition. I think it could all be kind of too much change to experience at one time.
Or I remember even in middle school, people asking me, "You got the same last name as your daddy?" You're like, "What?" But it didn't, because you were so used to it. It didn't make sense to me.
But it's foreign territory to them.
Right.
Yeah. And don't let you get that smart ass mouth teacher who done saw 3 different signatures from your mama since she done been your teacher. Man, your mama done changed that. Your mama done changed that name. As my kid, you got permission to cuss her ass out right there.
Hello.
All right, let's get a couple of more comments, and then we'll go to the next aspect of this. We got Anguita says, I feel like we didn't have any role models back in the day to teach us about choosing the right mate. I regret that I didn't go after a Boaz kind of guy. instead of broke ass. Now that I know better, I do better. And let's just say this, ain't we? That's fair, right? And we know with our family, because our grandmother passed away when y'all were still very, very, very young, and the circumstances were very different, right? There's some justifiable reasons why you didn't have some of those role models. And guess what? Kids who done had great role models still end up making badass decisions. So I promise you that just simply because you got a role model or you done got to look at the picture of what you should be. Sometimes they're gonna go the opposite way just for the hell of it, just because that rebellious spirit anyway.
Yeah.
All right, we got the seasoned queen here from Hawaii. I didn't want to tell everybody where she at. So if you're in Anna right now and you need a new big screen TV. Don't steal us. She says aloha family. Hey, what's
aloha?
She gonna try to get a hang loose. She gonna try to get a hang loose.
She didn't type that. She didn't type that.
Why you say that?
Look at that.
Okay, so you tell me why you say that. I'm gonna let you go on.
You don't even know what this means.
She must do. They probably
They've been learning it over there.
Papa Yana, thank you.
As soon as she landed, they put that lay around her neck. And they've been teaching. They've been learning her, like Craig say.
That's Yana, mama.
All right, Miss Producer, where you want us to go next? We'll dive into any one of these. Okay, that's a good one.
Oh,
that is a good one. That is a good one. How does religion affect divorce? And I think I may have some statistics on that too. So, Gary, you holiness, yeah, you Church of God in Christ, you Catholic, does religion affect divorce, sir?
Oh, absolutely. I think no matter what the faith is, the more the closer you hold that faith, then the more likely that you are going to stay married. Wow. Now, and when I say the closer you hold that faith, I'm gonna to whatever religion is because I think the statistics. I saw some statistics that showed who were from Hindu to Buddhist to so on and so forth. I think Hindu was the highest as far as the having the highest rate of retention as for marriage retention. And then Protestants were having the lowest rate. But we also know Protestants tend to be the most non-religious. So that's to me, that's the proof in the closer you are to your religion and the closer you are to your faith, the more likely you are to stay married. And without it, it's just going to be it's going to be a hard battle.
Yeah. Well, this particular question is one of the reasons why I really wanted to go here on this topic because, of course, the first statistic was intriguing just simply by ethnicity. But then when religion, and see, I got some numbers that's broken down between the type of Protestants you are. Black Protestants, traditionally Black Protestants, okay, faith, versus evangelical Protestant faith. So we'll get to that after we get Lily and Mika thoughts. So, Mika, how does religion affect divorce? Can you still shout the same on Sunday?
Excuse me, Jesus. Excuse me, Jesus. I'm back. I almost choked.
You're trying to reconcile what she did last weekend.
Yeah, he's able, Gary. In some people's eyes, especially in the Black community, you cannot shout the same. We judge a little differently. We ask why. We think you should hang in there. Like in my circle, we feel like you got to hang in there a little longer. Why did you leave? You got kids. Forgive them and go on. So I think it's very, very like religion plays a high. Religion is really important in our community when it comes. You like just let Jesus solve it. You good? You all right? So yeah,
pray about it.
Pray about it, and I think that pray about it makes us stay a little longer.
Did you pray about them whole lot, Lily? What you think about it?
Oh,
I definitely think that religion definitely does affect divorce, because I want to say, even I think it may be Catholics that don't even entertain the idea. I've known some Catholics, went to school with Catholics. They don't even entertain the idea of divorce. So, but that also leads me to think that if it's a toxic situation, y'all just gonna live through that toxicity. Like, how sad. But it definitely does have an impact for sure.
Right. So for me, the advice I would give on religion, your religion, okay, for those viewers out there, people who are watching this tonight, people who may watch this at a later time, I look at that just like I look at forgiveness, right? If you got a husband that's whooping your head,
yeah,
you can forgive, but you don't give access. It's a difference. Forgiveness doesn't mean keep staying there and getting your teeth kicked in. That's stupid. Okay. So, same thing with religion. And I know what the pastor said when y'all got married. What God has wrought, let no man put asunder.
My dad
you don't
did
know
not
that God
sound
wrought that in the first place. So did God even put y'all together? So why y'all worry about it when when it's time to go your separate ways? Like Journey said. I know Gary know about that because he's a classic rock.
Gary's
when they
sick
got
of
time
you.
to go your separate ways. Why are you bringing God in now? Okay, you feel me on that though, y'all? God didn't. Who said He put y'all together in the first place?
Yeah.
So again, it's obviously each of these scenarios. We're speaking in general terms for the most part, but each of these situations are going to be on a case by case scenario, right? And I'm not, again, here to advocate for divorce, nor am I here to advocate for staying together in crazy circumstances. Okay, go ahead, Mika.
So, if you're under the leadership of a pastor and him and his wife get divorced, does that affect your membership?
Well, let me just say this. For Catholics, it don't. Because you got some priests that done did some stuff that didn't affect their membership.
I know that.
So, and for some Protestants, some Black Protestants, it don't. Because you done had some pastors do some. Hey, it is. Come on now. I mean, I'm talking about you done had. I mean, think about just in our community, just in DFW. Let's not even go to crypto dollars.
Yeah.
Okay, just in our community.
Yeah, hey, you know what? If you look for a pastor that didn't have a flaw or didn't have a sin, then you would never go to church.
You ain't gonna go to church.
You're not going to church.
Church is gonna shut down.
You can't hold your membership hostage based on what that man or that woman in some cases are doing. It is what it is. I would rather try to steer clear of it. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. It is what it is.
Because you're gonna feel some type of way if you do know.
Yeah.
Hey,
stay away
Gary,
from
I think they say ignorance is bliss.
It's bliss. Yeah. So you're not going to their church, or I mean, you're not.
No, he's saying Gary is saying I'm gonna try to steer clear of the reasoning and all that other stuff. And Gary seems to be balanced enough to say that man or woman in that pulpit is not gonna be flawless anyway. So if they happen to be, a participant of a divorce or a dissolution of a marriage, right, Gary? I don't mean to speak for him.
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's just, do you stop being friends with your best friend because she got a divorce?
Right.
She advised you more than the pastor did in a million situations. So I ain't gonna divorce. I ain't gonna quit my homeboy just because he got a divorce. So it is what it is. So
right. And sometimes you listen to that whole girl that ain't even married. Right.
Yeah, exactly. I can respect them, and then again, having the understanding that everybody's got issues.
Yeah.
We always assume in those cases, okay, the pastor got, and I'm going to get kind of a little deeper into this subject. I mean, sometimes we always assume that it was the pastor that was cheating, but it could have been that the pastor's wife was beating him, or the pastor's wife had some crazy spending habits. We don't know what made, or she got a foul mouth. We don't know what led to it, and that's when I don't want to know. And so, therefore, whatever happened is what happened. You know, go about your business. I'm gonna go about mine.
Yeah, in fact, to co-sign on that statement by the Freelosopher, there is a prominent white pastor in the state of Texas whose wife is off the chain. Okay, and it wouldn't take you but one little quick Google search, and you'll be able to find 3 or 4 stories on how she get crunk. So yeah, it ain't always the pastor.
Yeah.
Lily, did you get a chance to answer this question? How does religion?
I did.
Okay, you did. Okay, great. Okay, so because Mika asked a follow-up question about whether you was gonna bounce, So Mika, you asked the question, answer it. You gonna bounce because your pastor got a divorce?
No, he's human. He or she is human.
And you figure you drinking wine anyway. So who you gonna?
Who I'm judging? Who I'm judging?
All right, let's get a couple of comments and then we'll go to the. Oh no! Before we go to comments, let me get these statistics. So Gary was right. Hindu is they only have 5% in terms of the amount of people that get divorced there. Mormon 7%, Muslim 8%, Orthodox Christian 9%, Jewish 9%, Buddhist 10%, unaffiliated 11%. That's those people who say, there's non-denominational basically.
Yeah.
Mainline Protestant 12%, Jehovah's Witnesses 12%, Catholic 12%, Evangelical Protestant 14%, and historically black. I guess this is like HBCU of Protestants. Historically black Protestants 19%. So again, our ethnicity or group we're associated with is at the top of the list again. What the hell is going on? Okay,
last time, first time.
Yeah, we leading everything, ain't we?
That makes me feel
we leading in sugar, diabetes. We leading in cholesterol. We leading in blood pressure. And we leading in divorce. Y'all so competitive here.
Competitive for the wrong thing.
Okay.
Right.
Again, y'all see my producer.
Can't win this marriage race.
You see my producer is doing that professional reset here. Again, today's topic, Black marriage, Black divorce. Again, we have one of our family members here, really, to call him a guest host. Gary been on long enough. He one of the crew. Gary, the Freelosopher Freeman. So let's get a couple of these comments and then we'll move to the next aspect of this topic. All right. So Anita says different religions affects the marriage because of the different beliefs. True. And some of them are just, at the very least, some of them are just way more passionate about, their beliefs, and they not doing it. They rigid with it, And she goes, the answer to make a question, it depends on the circumstances of the divorce for me. So she's not like Gary and is going to steer clear of why. She wants to know why. All right, then cousin Diane said it wouldn't affect my membership because I don't believe in staying in an unhealthy marriage. Right.
Well, no, that's right.
And that, and that's a great point too, right? That, there are some thought processes out there. In fact, y'all know who Dr. Laurie is. She is one who says you should stay together for the kids. That's her big thing. She goes, once they're 18, you do what you want to do. She's a proponent of that. However,
so if you're getting whooped for, just say 6,
you just got 12 more years.
Yeah, that's I'm with Doc on
Take
that.
some
That's when you have to.
What she said.
Joe, you have to draw the line when it's like you're putting your life in jeopardy.
Exactly.
That's 100, man.
Exactly.
That's 100.
Hey, would you rather be divorced or would you rather be a widow?
No,
right.
Gary, you and I know someone. Who literally took their wife's life.
Yeah.
And she had told her family members he gonna kill me.
Yep.
Wow.
And she, but she was at that point, she was actually out of the relationship finally, but that didn't stop. See, a lot of people don't understand that just because you get out of it, you still got some danger,
Mm-hmm.
to deal with, right? There's still some risk associated with it. And in some cases, they tend to want to stay because they thinking that's going to amplify the shit. It ain't
Yeah.
going to make it go away. I done figured out mechanisms to survive in
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
I done learned some ways to not trigger and to keep and to do and to manage and to manipulate and to so I can survive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If I
Yep.
get out this thing, it's gonna escalate it in a way. So hey, so yeah, unhealthy marriage, that's very, very,
How scary.
especially if there are kids involved. You don't want to see them to see unhealthiness in a marriage because that's gonna have, in my estimation, that'll probably have a more detrimental effect than if you actually got the divorce, in
Yeah.
my estimation. And again,
Mm-hmm.
case by case. There's another aspect of this before we get into. I just want to just touch on these two real quickly before we get to any questions you got, producer. But the there's a lot of people who will say there are factions in this country. Back in the 1900s, around the 60s or so, that strategically put some laws and things in place to affect the Black family and whether marriages stayed together or not. So let me just ask this question. Y'all, are y'all familiar with what I'm talking about with the welfare
Yeah.
program? Y'all have heard of that, right? Trying to get the Black dude out the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So we all on the same page there. Is that a factor in why our numbers are still are as high as they are in all these, whether you look at religion, whether you look at occupation, whether you look at just plain ethnicity? Is that a factor? The fact that that was strategically put in place and it just hadn't been flushed out. Those toxins hadn't been flushed out yet. Those mindsets that were put in aren't strategically flushed out yet. Gary, I'll let you comment on that first.
I think that it's a big part of it, and no, I don't think it's all been flushed out as of yet. I think we're still reeling from that. There are that it started a mindset.
Yeah.
And that mindset has gained a lot of momentum, rolling through the 70s, rolling through the 80s, rolling through the 90s. And I'm starting to see it kind of that snowball effect start to slow down now. Now we're starting to see
because we're
there
talking about it more.
Benefits to being a couple.
Yeah.
Not only is it a benefit for the family or for the family, for the children, for each other, it's a benefit financially. Now we're not. Now I don't have to worry about spending. But there's 2 rents or 2 mortgages being paid. There's only one that's being paid. We get to share. Insurance. We get to choose who's got the cheapest. Dental plan. We get to choose. We get multiple car discounts on our auto insurance. There are a lot of things that we get out of marriage, and people are starting to see that, and so that whole concept of I don't need anybody. Is starting to slow. That momentum is starting to slow, and we're starting to kind of get back to our senses to say maybe we've been doing this wrong. Maybe the things that were put out there, whether they were put out there on purpose to destroy the Black family, or if it was just a tool that we stumbled into that deteriorated our Black families. Whatever the case is, the effect is starting to lessen, and I think it's up to us to now continue to carry on to slow that snowball effect down. But yes, I do know that it did hinder it, and it is something that we need that needs to die.
Yeah. It permeates through the community. In my estimation, I don't think there's any question that it was strategic, and I think they actually doubled down on it in a way where they tried to make it a positive thing. Strong Black woman.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? They tried to make it a positive thing, knowing that it would have some residual effect on family structure.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, in a lot of cases here, they got us playing checkers and they playing chess.
Yeah.
You're right.
Okay. And we worried about arguing about the rules.
Yeah.
You can't jump me that way. You can't move forward and backward. And
they still
arguing about this kids game, and they playing this adult game, which means they're thinking 2 and 3 steps ahead.
That's right.
And so we better take the emotion out of it okay, and really think about what we're doing. So before we move on, Lily, Mika, y'all got any other comments on that? That the strategy against the black family back in the day still having an impact.
I don't. I think Gary wrapped that up beautifully.
Yeah.
I don't have anything to add.
One thing that came to mind is generational curses, because all of that fits under that umbrella to me. Fear.
Okay.
I can do good. I can do bad all by myself, or
Right,
I can do good all by myself. I don't
Right.
need you. So I think that whole umbrella of generational curses that
Yeah.
brought about different subjects all goes under
Yeah.
that umbrella.
Yeah. How many people have we heard say that? I can do it bad all by myself. Wow. So that
Now,
leads me
hey,
into.
now I want to touch on that though. What we've already, I think, as far as Black people, we have gone too far in our description of doing bad. We think an argument over spaghetti sauce is doing bad. You know what I mean?
Right.
We think
Should you add it in the spaghetti or pour it on top afterwards?
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
we
You gonna keep the ketchup in the
stick
refrigerator or the pantry? Hey, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now y'all arguing. The toilet tissue over the top or under the bottom? That's called what they call it, irreconcilable differences.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've taken that too far. And how many people you get coming. I remember, man, this is funny. I remember one day me and my wife got into it about she told me to wash the dishes, and I washed the dishes, and she got mad because I didn't rinse out the soap in the sink. We had a big old argument about I didn't rinse out the soap in the sink.
Love it.
Now, with that being said, and we were really on a real rocky slope right there, but that was almost the straw that broke the camel's back. Now, our divorce was going to be hinged on soap being left over. Not that the dishes didn't get washed, but the soap being left in the sink. So that's just a microcosm of when I say, we've got to pick our battles. We've got to understand what doing bad is. Like doing bad is getting jumped on. Doing bad is, but even we've got this concept of doing bad is not making enough money.
Yeah.
Instead of not curbing our spending habits.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that may be. Those are some of the things that we've got to make sure that we are tackling before we go. Before we go down that road to say, I don't want to do this anymore. Well, what did you do to contribute, or what did you do to benefit the situation before you decided that we were so far gone, we were doing so bad that we couldn't get over this.
Right.
Those are the questions that we've got to make sure that we're focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And earlier, in his initial thoughts, he said there are certain things we got to break each other on. And I think that's, hey, if you think about that phrase, think about what Mama used to say. I'm gonna break you up from that, right? Think about that. Think about a wild horse having to be broke, right?
Yeah.
So there are some things in you that I got to get out of you because it's causing a negative impact not only on your immediate family, but on our community. So, and he said it in a very responsible way. He said we got to break each other on. That's ownership.
Yeah.
Accountability.
I was about to say accountability. Yeah.
There you go. Right. So if you look at things in a way like that, in a very rational, realistic, accountable way, that's, as far as I'm concerned, that's where the conversations need to start, and that's where they need to end. We both got room for improvement. If you talk to anybody that say they ain't had no part in failure, they lie. And he also said, Gary also said, those cycles we have to break, right? And that lends to our question about kids, and it's not just kids. Think about how many people we look to within our family and their marriage and how it is, and gain inspiration from, or gain fear from. Bless you. You follow what I'm saying? So it's not just, those cycles sometimes don't always come from what's directly under your roof. Sometimes it's just within your extended family and what you're seeing and not seeing and stuff like that. So So, you know, maybe some married couples need to be thinking about that kind of stuff and saying, let's say these arguments at home. How many times y'all done seen, you know, people, we're blessed to say we don't have any family members that just be arguing with each other in front of everybody and stuff. We luckily do not have that, right? But we have seen it. I've been on vacations in the most beautiful places in the world, and some of us married couples is arguing like they cats and dogs, man. I'm not kidding you. And I'm like, come on, we can't get a 20 here. You know, give me a 20-second time out, man. Let's come on. We in the most beautiful. Look at this beautiful water, and y'all over here arguing like cats and dogs. You know. All right, let's get a couple comments, and then we'll answer one more question here. This comment here: the Willie Lynch syndrome is still in full effect. If you don't know what that is, ooh, that's and 100. I don't know who that Facebook user is, but that's what I mean when I say we want to give you credit for that. We just said, Gary, I can do bad all by myself. To me, means I'm paying all the bills. So again, like Gary said, what's bad about that?
According to Tyler Perry, y'all black women got to bend a little bit.
Oh yeah,
He was just in the news for that.
I'll even go there and I'll ask, was the nigga on the couch when you met him? Or did he lose his job and now he's been on the couch for 3 or 4 months while he's trying to find another job?
And that is the Gary. That's why anytime I say to Lily, hey, y'all want to bring Gary on? She'll be like, yeah. Because she knows we gonna get one of those per show.
Because Gary tickles me. It's just
he was on the couch when you met him. You gotta leave him on the couch. Don't let him leave him on whatever couch you found him on. That's don't bring him home with you.
But see, Gary, that's because everybody. Well, I'm not gonna say everybody. Such a large percentage of people think, "Oh, I can fix him up. I can fix her up. I that kind of thing. And I got news for you. I even get advice from people being single. If I see something that I consider a concern in reasoning why I don't want to move forward in a relationship with this individual, I have people actively trying to say, man, you can work on that. You can fix that. You can, and hey, man, I'm like, man, at this age,
at this big age,
I ain't trying to train nobody, man. I got rid of my German Shepherd puppy, whom I love, because I'm tired of training folks.
That brother asked him to come out the cage one too many times.
Every time we get in the car. I don't like no sickly stuff around me, man. You got to go.
Oh my!
Hey, you know what? And again, you can't get no fixer up. You got
right.
You've got.
You're not flipping houses. We ain't flipping houses.
Right.
All right, thank you for tuning in.
Flipping niggas. That's what flipping niggas. He got more lives on him.
Hey, let's reach out to HGTV, Gary, see if they interested in this. Hey, we got a new show. I love it. Wait a minute.
But I'll tell you this, and ladies, I'm gonna tell y'all this. This is one of the things I'm gonna leave with you ladies. Is that because ladies are really bad about trying to change a man. You and don't nobody like to change but you. There's 2 of y'all in the relationship, but don't know. Because I'm gonna tell you, because if a man really wanted to be that type, he would do it. But he didn't want to be that type. But you don't try to change him because it makes him miserable. That some things you can goad him and you can encourage him, but accept him for who he is. So if you found him on the couch, that's where he gonna be.
He ain't gonna all of a sudden stop playing NBA 2K Madden and smoking blunt.
And if you're 36 playing that, excuse me, I'm talking about me. Go ahead.
Leave him alone. Leave him alone.
All right. Eric Butler of The Perspective, and is it Wednesday yet? A new show on BS3 Network. So This brother dropped knowledge, so you check him out, support him on all of his BS3 network stuff. He says ego, ego, ego. That is a huge factor in a lot of this.
Yep.
Yep. The plan for our culture was to divide and conquer. The house is in a mess because the lead role is causing major conflict. Maybe he was raised in a two-parent home or vice versa. However, we got to find out how we can prosper as a unit. That is a great point. Gary and I was under some instruction that made a great point and said things you got to consider, and that is, what if she was, he comes in and you going through marriage counseling and he's saying she always yelling at me. And she like, I don't be yelling at you. And come to find out, she was raised and she had 6 sisters and 3 brothers. And he was a single child. So the way she talked sound real loud, but she had to if she was gonna get another piece of chicken. And he never had right. Mama, such and such in here, so it ain't yelling to her, but to him it is. And when they figured that out in their marriage, now all of a sudden some understanding could be attained. And guess what? That's a good lesson for all of us. Get gains and all you're getting.
Get understanding.
Come on. All right. Good comment. Facebook user, I don't know who that is. Eric says, wow, Mika, ageism, I heard you shaking my head.
At your big age.
36. And she said if you're 36, still playing, so yeah.
I had a flashback.
Okay. Go to Weeda. She told me who this unnamed Facebook user is. See, I told you. See, Greg said he gonna steer away from why the pastor got divorced. Weeda said she gonna know because she knows stuff like this. The unnamed Facebook user, she worked for the FBI, don't she? The unnamed Facebook person of interest. The person of interest is Craig Danielle White. Okay, my homeboy. Okay, here it is. He says, you can't see my name on your producer don't like me. I can't see your name. But I know you went to Lakeview, so they didn't teach you how to follow directions.
Oh, it's correct.
That out a long time ago. He don't even know how to, he thought he was a freshman in high school before he realized what his real middle name was. He thought his middle name was Edwin until he got to to high school and figured out it was Eugene.
Stop calling that man name.
Yeah. Eric Butler said, wow, okay. And then he goes, get an understanding how to preach all by itself all day long. All day long. All right, this is one of these topics that when I say not even a third through on some stuff I had on this one, and I think there's so much more meat on this bone. So we're gonna have to get a part 2. And let me just say this: imagine us coming back and discussing this again, and then we add in Pastor Dawkins to this. Imagine that one, So we're gonna have to do a part 2 on this. We'll check his availability.
And shout out to him, 100 years.
100 years for Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church. And that is 100 years in our family, where somebody in our family has been associated with that ministry.
Yeah.
And then Mom told me that he's been there for over 20 years. And that blew my mind.
Blows your mind.
I said, what?
And he's so freaking young.
Yes. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's that Bobby Ray gene. It's in Fate, Texas, which is just past Rockwall.
Right outside of Rockwall.
Yeah, so east of Dallas. Yeah. So yeah, and he brings it. I promise you. Let me say this: if you go visit this church on a Sunday, Macedonia Missionary Baptist Church, Fate, Texas, and you don't like it, I'll pay for your gas money and I'll get you some Burger King on the way.
Not Burger King.
And I know I ain't gonna have to buy nothing. Because I promise you, let me put it like this: he's so cold. I'll tell him call me when he gonna preach at a funeral because I want to go. I don't even know the people, but he preached so good that I don't want to miss nothing. All right, so yeah, we're gonna need to do a part 2 on this. All right,
yeah, we'll see.
Let's give final thoughts. We're gonna start with the baby away.
All right, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for the interaction in the chat. Love to see your comments. Continue to comment. If you have more questions on this topic that you want us to cover, please send those in as well, because maybe we didn't ask a question that you are kind of curious on our thoughts on. So Gary, thank you so much for joining us tonight. As always, you always gonna say something that makes me laugh. I gotta go back and look at that last podcast though, when I lost it for about 10 minutes. That was it. I'm just laughing thinking about it. I gotta go back and look for it now. But Black marriage, Black divorce. I think just as a community, the more that we talk about this, we'll start to do better. And because this is one of those areas where you're like, now this is where we should be winning, because we always like to use the mantra that we strong, that we're resilient, that we have all these accolades, but let's win in marriage. Because we stronger together. So
wow, that's good.
That's all I have.
Hallelujah.
And hey, I wish I could show this right now. Can y'all read that?
That's me, asshole.
That's me.
And look who that's coming from.
Great.
That's supposed to be your best friend that text you stuff like that.
That's your best friend can say that to you.
That's right.
Mika, final comment.
Shout out to the audience. We appreciate y'all. Shout out to these allergies in Texas. We don't appreciate y'all.
No, don't.
Baby, I can't hardly see right now.
You bastards.
Yeah, exactly. Gary, thank you, family. We appreciate you.
Yeah.
And to the topic, I think we'll be, like Alicia said, we're better together. Get your community of people around you that will hold you accountable when it comes to Black marriages.
Right.
Say, hey, stop that. Or you tripping.
There you go. There you go. There you go.
I think, like Alicia said, we're better together. Get you some folks that'll be in your corner, not only to say, we're cheering for you, but we're also gonna sit you down because you tripping today.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. See, that's so good that needs to be added. Miss Producer, take that note for part 2 is how do your friends influence your marriage?
Yeah.
Right? How do your friends influence your marriage? Because think about it. That's why they say you better be getting, your friends better have a lifestyle that's very similar to yours. Because if you get one that's in and out of relationships and they always, girl, you ain't got to put up with that. You know, you got to be careful about that. So we're going to break that aspect of it down.
Because I'll call Shanika real quick and be like, girl, I'm about to cuss. She'd be like, hold on, sis. Now what happened? Now you was wrong. You was wrong. Go on and sit down.
Yeah.
Right. If your best friend ain't ever told you you're wrong,
get
your
wrong.
Either they went to Lakeview or they lying.
Oh my.
Dang.
Yeah. Freelosopher, final thoughts, sir.
Hey, again, I just want to thank y'all for having me. It's always a blast, whether I'm on the show or just watching it.
Right.
Always have a good time. Y'all the craziest family I've ever met.
Hey, just wait. We gonna invite y'all, you and your wife, to an event over here, man.
Yes.
And I promise you ain't seen nothing. This just a little bit of it. We act like we got a little sense on here. Because we only got an hour, number one, and these drinks ain't kicked all the way in. And then number 2, we know some sponsors watching. Hi, Gatorade. Hi, Discovery. Cash back.
In my district.
But I do thank y'all. As far as this topic, very interesting topic. Next time I want our topic, because this is one of the things that I think we don't focus on enough. We don't focus on the benefits of marriage enough. And we've talked about the reason for divorce, and we've talked about why people don't want to get married, but let's talk about some reasons why they should get married. What are some of the benefits of it? It's spiritually, like I said, financially, emotionally, for the children. There are a million reasons that the reason that God says, the Bible says, when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. He's talking about the whole marriage blessings in general. And I think we need to be more vocal on that, because there's a million reasons. I mean, I can turn on the radio, I can turn on TV, I can turn on YouTube, whatever else, and I can find you a million reasons why having a spouse is not a good thing, or putting up with somebody's problems is not a good thing. So we've got to bring some more. We've got to lighten that load. We've got to say why it is good to find your one person and be committed to that one person. And I think that the more we talk about that, then the more attractive it'll be. And the more attractive it is, then the more people will get into it, and we will shrink that number.
Love it, love it. And I saw Miss Producer writing that down as you spoke, so I know it's there. I would bring her on the show right now, but she had her about how many glasses of wine was she up to by the time we got
Don't
to
do that. Zero.
That's why we watching her real close tonight. Make sure she don't follow that. Because she ain't even on the air, but she got that background screen on, like somebody gonna see that fake piano you got in the back. All right, let's get these last few comments, then I'll give my final thoughts and we'll sign off on this. Eric says hush dog. LOL funeral comment. And then he said strong Alicia. And then Aunt Rita said peace out, great show. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
And then he said on target at Mika, accountability partners. And then to Gary, he said that Gary physically too. Shoot. Oh, shoot. Okay.
Oh, physically shoot.
Yeah, see, I would see when I'm reading, I get into my, more Caucasian thought processes and whatnot in terms. So when he said shoot, I wasn't my black side of the brain.
You just didn't know.
You didn't know.
Yeah, physically too, shoot. All right, so he gave everybody compliments, but me, he said hush. Okay, I got you, brother. Okay, so my final thoughts on this topic again: black marriage, black divorce. Again, the topic, I'm not speaking anything into existence. That was just simply to get y'all to pay attention and say, hey, come check us out. I am somebody like this, though, that you need to be paying attention before you get married, number one. But if you are married, and aside from physical, mental, emotional, spiritual abuse, like Lily said, let's win at something. Let's win at marriage. Let's and Gary said, let's talk about what's good about it. It's so easy. But see, unfortunately, just like sex sells, negativity sells, drama sells. How many shows you got out there on whatever them networks are talking about, E and all that, talking about, you're gonna win $1 million because y'all stayed together, and stuff like that. No,
and I watches them.
Because they sell, But hey, we appreciate you for tuning in to another episode of Queen, Free, and King. Coming up next, Body Talk Fit. You don't want to miss that. That is an interesting take on some physical fitness. And again, Noelle me and her get along really, really well because she get all my jokes, and that ought to tell you everything you need to know. Eric said, hi, LOL, that dog, 100 on the work done beforehand. That's the most important part. Thank you. He just had to give me a compliment. But hey, we appreciate you for tuning in. We'll see you on the next episode of Queen, Free, and King. Shout out to the season queen. Aloha.
Aloha.
Bro, bring the hook in. Queen, Free, and King, we the team. It's going down. We the talk of the town. It's going down. We royalty, wear our crowns. It's going down. Tune in now. It's going down. It's going down. We just hit you with another one. It's going down. We just hit you with another one. It's going down. We just hit you with another one. Tune in now. We just hit you with another one. It's Queen, Free, and King. 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 On BS3 Network.